Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday evening, August 20th, 2020, the year of our Lord. Welcome to another episode of In Black and White. I am your host, Rick Lockhart. So glad you can join us again. I'm seated here and joined by my illustrious, beautiful guest co-host, the Miss Kendra Brielle Pennington. How are you tonight, sweetheart?
I'm so good. How are you?
Hey, listen, there's so much going on, right? There's always so much going on. How's your week been? Let's start there.
Pretty good. Trying to get ready for school to start, whatever that's going to look like, preparing for the unknown.
It's still craziness, right? What? I'll tell you, I'll share some very exciting news for those of you who are watching who know that I have not returned to work yet. I finally got hired someplace, so I can finally start getting a source of income to help supplement with my other half. I'm excited about that to get started finally back to work. Yay. It's kind of surreal, but I'm actually looking forward to complaining guests and whatnot, or customers, but also taking great care of customers. So service is what I enjoy. That's what I enjoy doing. But hey, we have a great show lined up for you this evening. We are joined by our guest, and we'll introduce her and bring her on in just a moment. However, the Democratic National Convention is taking place. Although this is not a political show, it is something that is going on. So we just kind of want to address it because we know that you all could potentially be watching the Democratic National Convention. And tonight's a big night, right? I don't know, Kendra, have you had a chance to check out any of it?
I have. Usually it's the morning after I'll listen. Anytime either of the Obamas speak, it's like, tears.
I miss having a president that could communicate presidentially. You know what I mean?
Like full sentences, full complete sentences.
With some empathy and some actual compassion to what he says. I missed him, man. I missed him. Did you have a favorite speaker so far?
I really loved Elizabeth Warren in a classroom. The public educator. I just loved it. And her little Black Lives Matter sign in the back of the classroom.
I saw that. I saw the little BLM in the classroom. I know that just got you so excited.
I was so excited. So excited.
I did. How'd you feel about Jill Biden?
Love her too, and I love that she, even when Joe Biden wins, she's still going to be teaching, and I love that. I love that a lot. Public education needs help, so I love all this talk about public education.
Yeah. I fortunately and unfortunately went to Catholic school, so I know nothing about that. So I just want to address real quick, since we are two members of illustrious organizations, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and Beta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I got to shout out Senator and Vice President potential candidate Kamala Harris for shouting out the D9 Greeks in her speech. She had to even give a shout out to the D9 Greeks. I was like, every Greek should be standing up right now, because never has a vice president candidate shout out the D9 organizations, or D9 particularly. You know what I mean? Like, I felt good about that.
I know. I let out a long old Z-Fi. I was so excited.
Well, I'm sure there were glasses breaking everywhere with the enormous ski wing that went on with the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. When she mentioned them specifically, shout out to them too as well. Hey, I posted something the other day, Kendra. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see my post about tagging demonstrators for protest demonstrators? Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
So a lot of people kind of asked what I was looking for, and I saw some people tagged. I got a chance to connect with a few of them. Hey, here's the thing for everybody that's watching. If you know someone, or you in fact are someone who is or has been organizing protests, I really want to reach out to you and find a way to network about resources and support for getting those same demonstrators to the polls. Or you have this influence that you can arrange a protest and organize a protest, and that's great. But I want to make sure that we're sending that same communication messages and resources to get those people who want change to the polls. Kendra, I've talked to at least like 2 or 3 young people that are just turning 18, who this will be their first election. And I'm astounded to hear that they're not voting. They're like, neither of the candidates make a difference. They don't care about me. I don't need to vote. I don't like either. No, that's what I said. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I know.
This is your first election. You just gonna sit it out because you don't like the candidates? There are senators, House rep seats that are up for election. What are you talking about?
Yes, I'm a member of SC for Ed, which is a teacher advocacy group here in South Carolina, and I talk to teachers all the time, like we have to go out and vote, and then they're like, well, the national election. I'm like, no, let's talk local elections, like, because those are, I mean, of course that affects us too, but these senators and legislators, they have like a direct effect on public education. And then, or I'll post a picture of my I voted sticker, and they'll be like, oh, there was an election today, and I'm like, yes. So frustrating.
So if you all are watching and you happen to know anyone who actually is involved in organizing protests, connect with me. Let's create a network of resources of people, because again, these people have an incredible influence, obviously. So let's make sure that we're getting those same people who are marching and protesting and writing for change, that they actually get to a poll or mail in their mail-in ballot or whatever they're going to do, but that they vote for that change. And even as shout out to our sibling show host Cynthia McDonald, who is posting about voting down ballot, right? Even that is still getting involved in the voting process. Get out there and vote if you want this change. Marching on the street and all is great. Do it, cause disruption. But at the end of the day, that's not going to create the change. The change is going to come with the voting.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, we want to make sure, shout out to our top Patreons who are supporting our channel. Thank you so much to all of you all. All of the Patreon links are listed in the show notes, so you're more than welcome. Please click on that. Help support YFNA News as we continue to grow our network. And you can also do that by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting that little alarm button so that you can get alerts for when all of our shows do go on live. We have our sibling show that does come on Monday nights at 7 p.m. called The 13% with host Cynthia McDonald and Arthur Ward, where they talk about the policies and impacts to the Black community, the Black American community. We have political perspectives that also comes on. So a lot of great content. Continue to support. Tell your friends about it. Share this on your social media platforms and join in the conversation. So tonight we have a very special guest that's joining us who has a story, a very particular story, but not specific to Black Americans here in our country. She unfortunately has a rough time in her community, which is a pretty affluent and well-to-do community, where she's confronted by racism, bigotry, and sexism. And although she's made attempts to get things straightened out, to get things rectified and find a solution or resolution, she's met with obstacle after non-respondents in regards to her situation. So she's been taking her story as national as she can, as viral as she can. And we're going to talk to her this evening. Please welcome to the show, to In Black and White, Dr. Errika Marie Walker-Magra to the show. Let's bring her on. Dr. Walker's here with us. How are you, Dr. Walker?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Now, I know when you and I spoke, it was Dr. Walker because that's what you fought for, that's what you dreamed about. But I did not check this beforehand, so please forgive me. Did I pronounce the hyphen last name correctly? Is it Magra?
Yes, it's Magra. Great.
Yeah. I see. I should go into education. I pronounce names all the time. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your story. Before we get into it, I'd like to, if you could, share with us a little bit about your history, who you are. You've served in our armed services. You are serving now on the front line as an ER doctor. You have such rich history that I'd like to, if you wouldn't mind sharing with the viewing audience.
Sure. A quick summary. I am a board-certified emergency medicine physician. I do currently work at the Tampa VA hospital, and I myself, like you said, am a prior veteran. I was in the Navy. Navy helped me pay for medical school, and I was a GMO on the USS Constellation for a couple of years. I was her first, I was her only, and I was her last female Black doc as well. So a lot of things going on with that.
Oh.
And I served overseas in Sicily, where I met my husband. He is Sicilian. He is not American. And we have two beautiful children. And we live now in Lakewood Ranch here in Florida.
Mm. Well, hey, as I've said before, and I continue to say, hats off and big thank you to your service to our country. Without that service, my other half, my fiance, my partner, we couldn't live the life that we live if it wasn't for your service. So tremendous thank you to you.
Yes.
It's unfortunate that you have to return, or that you're home in the country that you defended, now having to deal with this this monstrous of an issue here. Let's kind of get into this a little bit. So, Dr. Walker, you shared on your Facebook profile a situation that occurred, and it's really kind of gained some attention. Let's talk about what happened that day at the pool that sparked all of what we're looking at now.
Right. So it was June 21st, Father's Day. I personally hadn't been to the pool in quite some time because of COVID and because of working. And, of course, things were in lockdown like most typical spaces were. And so here at Esplanade Golf and Country Club in Lakewood Ranch, they had sent out an email earlier stating when the pool was closed and when it was going to reopen, how it would reopen. And that reopening would include that you'd have to bring your own towels, and there was going to be social distancing, and the cushions would not be used for the lounge chairs, yada, yada. It had been more than about a month or so since that email had been sent out before me and my family had gone to the pool. And so we arrive at the pool. We walk in, and as you walk in, you get a grand overview of this resort-style pool, and you can clearly see that there are some people that do have cushions. And so I say to my husband, "Oh, wow, they must be letting cushions back in again," because I see there's a few ladies lounging on them, and then other people had their stuff already in them or on them, and they were in the pool, and some more laid out. And so I asked my husband to go and get us some cushions, which they were in the normal location. There was no sign saying that they could not be utilized, and there was no one over there regulating them at the same time. So he just got two. That's all we really needed because the kids spend most of their time in the pool. So as him and the kids jump in, I do mommy duty and start laying out everything. And as I'm literally like 2 minutes there, just laid out the cushions and now laying out the towels and putting out the goods, the sunscreen, and all the other good stuff when I'm going to read, a guy approaches me from across the other side of the pool to say, "Hey, you can't have those cushions." And I don't know this man. I know that he's a resident because he is not wearing the pool attendant gear, and he clearly looks like an older retired white man, kind of a portly, stout guy. And he says, again, "You can't have those cushions." And I said, "Well, why? What are you talking about? It's COVID. You can't have those cushions." I said, "Well, what about those people over there? You left that side to come over here. I literally just got here. How come you didn't start talking to them?" "Oh, well, I'll say something to them." And I said, "No, you came over here and talked to me because I'm like the only Black person here. I just got here, and you literally crossed over and left two people, at least that I see, that were directly where you came from, to come and talk to me." Well, I got to start somewhere," he says, as he's kind of backing off. And he said, "Well, I'm going to go tell them, and I'm going to go tell the attendant too." I said, "Well, fine, you go ahead and do that." So I observe him. He goes to his seat. He doesn't go by any of the other residents that are there, who happen to all be white. The two ladies that I had pointed out to him in particular obviously had been there for a while because they were lounging and chatting on the cushions. And he didn't go over to them either, and they were next to where he came from.
And if I can jump in for just a second, I'm going to ask Cynthia to go ahead and post that first picture that we have up that you posted on your profile, just to kind of give people a glimpse of who we're talking about here.
Right. So so the gentleman in the blue shirt was the one that approached me first. There's three people altogether that was involved in this incident, but the gentleman in the hat and the blue shirt approached me first.
Okay.
And so later, the pool attendant, who is typically a kid, comes in and he says, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you can't, have those cushions because of COVID. And I asked them, I said, hey, by any chance, were you told about anyone else having cushions at the pool? He goes, no, ma'am. I said, well, let me have you turn around. Let me have you turn around and see that there are other people who have cushions. I said, you were told specifically only about me, but there's other people as well. And he asked me, do you want me to help you put the cushions away? I said, no, that's fine. I have my stuff on it. I'm going to unpack it and I'll go ahead and put it away. But thank you. Make certain you go and tell them. And the kid did his job. He walks over to the other people and he informs them that they can't have the cushions, yada, yada. So no problem with the pool attendant at all. Thought it was over.
So we did, right.
I start packing my stuff up. I have a cushion tucked under my arm. I had my phone in my hand and a book, and I'm getting ready to set it down when one of the other guys in that picture comes over and I'm gonna put these cushions away. I'm like, excuse me, you're not touching anything. Number one, I don't know these people. I don't know who you are. We're social distancing. You're in my bubble. Back away.
There's a whole pandemic going on. Get back.
Right. He's like, well, I'm going to help you. I'm like, I don't need your help. And he lunges and grabs what's under my arm.
Ooh.
And now he's grabbing. And so now that's causing a push-pull situation because I have it tucked under. My husband jumps out of the pool because I'm now yelling at him, saying, let me go, leave me alone, leave my stuff alone. I belong here. Some expletives come out of my mouth. I pay my freaking dues just like you guys do, blah, 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 blah. And so again, by this time my husband's out of the pool. He's pushing this guy off and away from me because he's still attacking. And there was actually another young man who helped my husband as well get this guy away from me. And that's when the other two were starting to come on. And somewhere from just out of nowhere, these beautiful group of women come and just encircle me. And again, I'm the only minority that I see at the time at the pool. There are all these white women come around and just say, Errika, you're here, you belong here, you're right, he's wrong, we validate you, we got you, we stand by you, all this stuff. And it was just so uplifting at the time. It was so nice to see these women just circle around. Again, pandemic be damned, like everyone just forgot about it.
Right.
But they just came and just prayed around me, and that helped because I was shaking like a leaf because I was so mad.
Yeah.
And that helped soothe and bring me down, and it helped de-escalate the situation because now these men could not attack onto me personally, and my husband and, like I said, another gentleman helped get those other guys away. So that's what occurred. During this time, my two children, my oldest is 11, she has Down syndrome, and my youngest, at the time she was 9, she just turned 10 this past week, and they were in the pool. My youngest is kind of a person that doesn't really like to put her face in the water unless it's like just so, and she told me that she hid in the water. She was trying to get away from the scenery, from the sight of these older white guys attacking her mother, and the noise and the yelling and everything associated with it, things flying through the air. And she's going under the water constantly, just trying to quell her sights.
And I can imagine having to see her dad jump out of the pool and get involved in a situation like that's memorable for a child. That could potentially be, an experience that can be deemed traumatic in a sense, right? That she had to experience that at that young of an age. And I definitely want to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say yes. In fact, that like most kids, it wasn't something that was processed right away. It was maybe a week or two later when she was asking, "Mommy, those guys at the pool, like why did they do that?" And I'm like, I don't have an answer for you, baby. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer outside of the fact that mommy's just different than what they look like. My skin makes a little bit more melanin than their skin does. I mean, I don't know. I speak very doctorese to them. So they know. They know.
That's good. No, that works, right?
And because I mean, in her mind, she even tries to make logic with it and says, well, melanin's good for you because it protects you from the sun. So they don't have it. Are they just jealous because they don't have it? I'm like, it's a funny logic. I'm like, no, baby, that's not why. There's some other reasons, and we'll get into that later in history class. But
The
she
innocence.
tells me that she's afraid of older white men. So I literally have to go through a list of older white men that we know that are good people. We've had dinner with so-and-so and this person and that person. And remember mommy's mentor and this, that, like all these people that I have to walk through to validate that no, all older white men are not like that. And then I also have to remind her that her daddy is considered white. And she's like, no, mommy, he's Sicilian.
Which I've come to learn. Shout out to my Sicilian friends and some close family members that will definitely jump on you. They are not Italian. They're not white. They are Sicilian.
That's right.
Shout out to the five netizens
just
that
as
watch
dark as she is. They're the same skin tone. They have the same skin tone. So to her, she just sees him as another brown person.
Wow. Oh, wow. So much there. Kendra?
The kids.
I know, and you as a teacher, I know that's just hits you hard, man. Yeah.
Yeah, all it does is just, kind of propagate this. It's the racism, it can have two sides to it. They hate us. We hate them because they hate us. We need to get rid of both sides of it. And I don't want her to have carry this burden now of this. Now I have to hate them because they hate. I don't want her to have that propagating in her mind. So that's something that we have to stop, that generational curse of this racism moving forward.
Nice. Yeah. So you've confronted with this situation, and I know that you've gone in the direction to get people involved. Why have you now brought this to social media? What has happened that has been the breaking point for you to say, you know what, I'm not dealing with y'all no more. I need to go out and expand my reach of people that need to be aware.
Right. So at the pool, still at the same day, someone did point out that there was a board member at the Bahama bar. So the board member came, introduced herself to me, and asked if she could hear what happened, because it literally just occurred. I explained to her, just as I did it to you guys, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This is absolutely not tolerated. Not tolerated. And so I was grateful, for that response at that time. And she asked me, do I know who these gentlemen are? Do I know, gentlemen in quotes, do I know where they are? Because I didn't see them at the time. So later I did see them, and she told me she was still going to be at the bar if I saw them within a certain time frame. So I went to go see if she was there. She was. And so her and another board member, I believe it was, or her husband, came, and that's when I kind of inconspicuously pointed out who was who in regards to that incident. During that time, as we were beginning to walk away, the most aggressive guy who was trying to pull the cushion from my hands and made my stuff go flying, he's like, I need to speak to you right now. I'm like, no, I don't want to speak to you. I'm going to speak to you. I spoke to you. I'm going to speak to you again. I'm like, I know who you are. I don't want to speak to you. You need to leave me alone. I had to say that 2 or 3 times for him to leave me alone. And so later, Monday's a night shift for me. So I slept during the day, but I had a message from the Icon Management Group, the interim general manager. And I spoke with him on Tuesday morning. He gave me his personal cell phone. So I was like, great, this is important to them. He's saying, call my cell phone first thing in the morning when you get off work. No worries, we'll work around your schedule. Again, I was told this is not tolerated. This is ridiculous. I hope you know that we don't stand by that. Blah, blah, blah. And so what was asked of me was to write a statement of what happened and to send it into the board and to Icon Management. And so I did. And I waited. And maybe 7 or 10 days went by and I didn't hear anything. And also during this time, the management group had sent out an email blast to everyone that owns a property here in Esplanade Golf and Country Club in Lakewood Ranch, saying that we are aware of an incident at the pool. We are handling it. It was very vague. It was very nonchalant, just like that. So of course the buzz is going, well, what happened? Who was it? What was it involved? And it's a big community, but it's not that big. And there's only so many of us around, and only so many younger that have young children as well. And I'm the only physician as well. So, I mean, it comes down to they know who I am.
Right.
And so from there, I wait and I don't hear anything. So I send him an email saying, I'm sorry, I haven't heard anything. What's happening with this incident? I get an email back later saying that it's now been sent to the lawyer, and the lawyer is going to address it.
Okay.
Like, okay, the lawyer is going to address it. Okay, let's see where this goes.
See where this goes.
So
yeah,
now,
exactly.
Right. So now 3 weeks after the incident, I get a random email from the lawyer. No more emails from the HOA or the board members. I will say only 2 of the board members reached out to me personally to say I'm sorry and to ask if there was anything that they could do. And then, so in this lawyer email is also a copy of 3 certified letters that went out to these gentlemen. And it says what it comes down to is, you are a resident, you're not to police other residents. If you have any problems, you need to seek an attendant. And if you were to do something like this again, we might have to suspend your privileges.
Okay.
How is that not tolerated?
Right.
I was going to say, that's a vast difference between not tolerated and where they are with handling the situation.
One of these guys, they told me when I was pointing him out, they knew already he was aggressive to other residents. It wasn't like this was his first offense that they've heard of. They knew who this guy was.
So there's a history here now that we're looking at of this behavior of engaging in this type of activity with other residents.
Correct.
Okay.
And this time it led to a physical interaction. What are they waiting on to take action on of suspension? What do they need? Bloodshed?
An interaction that was so aggressive that, your husband had to jump out and help, and women surrounded you because they felt like you were in danger. So,
and that's my thing. Like, there was a whole commotion, right? There was a rallying of women. There was a man and this young guy pushing and pulling this guy off of. Like, that's so huge to me. Why is there not more movement? And just for those people that are watching, and I want to say this too, if you're watching on Facebook, please go ahead and click that YouTube link and join us over on the live chat on YouTube to join the conversation. I think for me, this is beyond preposterous. But as we talked about last week with microaggressions, right? There's a difference between certain subtleties and covert racism and microaggression to actions that have really portray bigotry, sexism, racism, as you've pointed out, are the things that really have occurred that need to be brought to the awareness, to the forefront here. So where are we? I mean, talk us through. The HOA now hasn't really done anything, and I want to again. We've reached out to the HOA. We've asked them for a comment for this show. They have not responded. Par for the course, as you'll hear in this continued story. Dr. Walker, please, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Continue to where you've gone from there.
Yes. So basically, it took me a moment to gather my own thoughts, because now I was a little pissed, but I wanted to come from a place of more intellect than just emotion. And so it took me some time to formulate a decent letter, one that I would not be embarrassed to share with my mama. So I wrote them a letter and basically told them what happened to no tolerance. No tolerance means this, and I point out. I said, as a military, as a prior naval officer in the medical corps, no tolerance means one and done. It doesn't mean, that's
what I remember to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, right. It's one and done.
It's the same thing in schools. Like when you have a zero tolerance policy, what does that mean? One and done.
That's right.
It's a wrap. You out.
There's no misconstrued ideas between no tolerance. So I sent out that letter, and during this time too, I had some friends who were very mad about the whole situation. They helped me with social media, help put a post together, help me share those posts, and say to reach out and contact the HOA, send emails out, or phone calls, and let them know. So I had women from my doctor's group, women from village mom groups, women from, physician mom groups, ebony doctor groups, just different friends that I've known from high school, friends that I've just met, friends that I only know via Facebook, all sent out emails and letters to them. I mean, my mentor from medical school sent out a letter, I was going way back.
Listen, let me take a point of personal privilege here and say that's how I found out about your story through
Yes.
my sister, Kay Lockdock, who is on Facebook, sent me your information, and she said, hey, please reach out to her. She could use some help and, spread some additional awareness. And that's when I was able to reach out to you and gather some more details from you. So I gather that you have been sending this out to quite a few people. And I gathered that, it seems to me that the people that you have been interacting with have been sharing your story, have also been reaching out to the HOA, and you've also gone a little bit further too, right? You've included some other outside groups as well.
Yes, I reached out to the local BLM chapter, and they were interested in helping as well. Eventually, it got to the point where they said, let's meet, meaning the HOA management group, because I sent out a couple of letters, and I said, great. And when I said that I was going to include BLM as an advocacy via Zoom during the meeting, all of a sudden that meeting couldn't be made, even though I put it in the time frame and dates that was given to me. And when I asked again, well, when can we meet? Because I'm trying to organize everything. I even invited you, Rick, to be there. And
I know, I was so excited. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a chance to see what's going on. And I ain't said a word. Do you hear me? Nothing.
Trifling.
Right. And so I've since sent out 2 other letters again. I've even included a letter that pulls HOA rules in there about horse playing and whatnot at the pool being enough for suspension, using their own words. But yet, someone being aggressive, causing an altercation doesn't get suspended. Right. And so the emails back and forth, and then finally I get an email from the current general manager saying, well, since you don't want to meet, excuse me, what lie are you telling?
So I saw that, and so I didn't want to share all of that for people to read because it is a lot of this kind of.
I'm laying it out there. I don't.
But it's right. If you want to go check out any of these letters, this communication, feel free to check out Dr. Walker's page directly. It's all laid out there. All of the letters and the communication back and forth. If you want to see, I got some of the emails to prove it too. There's been nothing. There really has been nothing. There has been nothing. I can imagine this being overwhelming for you. And for those that are watching that don't really understand the gravity or weight of having to deal with racism and discrimination in any facet, let me explain to you that here is where it becomes overwhelming, right? There are different facets of overwhelmingness that come along with racism. It's having to have the conversation to prove that my experience as a marginalized individual, specifically a Black man, and for this example, that this is my perception, or that Dr. Walker's perception as a Black woman, that this is her perception, this is what's taking place. To have to explain that consistently, to defend themselves, to defend ourselves, is exhausting. But here we are having to continue to fight an organization that is intended on protecting the citizens of their community, the residents of their community, and having to struggle with them to have to prove. And I mean, Dr. Walker, your fight, your stamina is just, it's remarkable and it's inspirational. Like, you must have guns here. Like, right. You must push-ups, see?
Yes.
See? And that's not all just military either. I'm sure that's having to fight this, man. Your brain must be muscular, like, in all facets of. you even went as far. And Cynthia, if we can do, I think the photo number 2, you even went as far as to do this on your property. Explain to people who see this, what does this mean?
So this is the inverted national flag. And basically what that means, it is a sign of distress. It is an internationally recognized sign of distress when one hangs their flag upside down. And so in my community, we're not allowed to have signs that you would, put on the lawn or whatever like that. So because
Thanks,
I
Cynthia.
knew that in the rules, and I'm going to play by the rules. I knew that the rules said that we could hang flags, and the flags being either the military flags, I believe it's the POW flag, and then also, of course, the national flag. And all it had to be done was in a respectable manner. Okay, fine. This is a respectable sign of distress. And that's what I am in. That is what our nation is currently in. Distress. I did not shred the flag. I did not paint BLM all over the flag. I did not burn the flag and then put it out and hang it partially burnt. It is respectfully still all intact, just inverted to show my distress that my family is having and the distress that this nation is having over these just stupid, idiotic racial issues, no matter how small, to the biggest ones where we're dealing with today with the murders and whatnot that are just uncalled for. We are in a state of distress. All of it causes pain, tension, and trauma, and it continues to propagate, and it needs to stop.
Well, it didn't stop there because, and let's take a look at this other picture that took place, and I want to highlight something in picture number 3, Cynthia, when you can bring that up for me. That it didn't stop there. They actually took it upon themselves to change your flag, because if I notice, I think that's the same date, right? Because it looks like you got the same thing going on there. Is that the same day that took place?
So I believe it's in less than 24 hours. I think so I hung the flag inverted around noon or so one day, and then around noon or so the next day they had done this.
Okay,
Thank
question.
You,
so they didn't ask you to do it. They did it?
No, ma'am. No one. They have my email. They have my phone number. Obviously, they know where I live. They just came onto my property. I have video of the HOA guy in his gear coming onto the property, and he writes the flag because he thought, because he got phone calls saying, oh, it looks like maybe someone put their flag upside down, or the kids were playing or whatever, and did this. And I walked up there later on that day, maybe about 30 minutes later, after I kind of saw it and calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I walked up there and I told him, there was a few people in that area at the time, and then I just so happened to see the gentleman that looked the same in the video. Did not know if that was him or not until he actually did say, yes, it was me. And I told him, I said, you have no right to come onto my property and to touch my stuff, right? And he said, well, we got phone calls. I said, no, I don't care what you got phone calls or whatever, then you need to reach out and talk to me. I said, and number one, a lot of those people who might have called you, they know why I put that flag up. They're just haters. They know why I put the flag up, because I posted it in our community's little Facebook thing about doing it and the reasons why I did it. So they called right after that. So yes, they knew exactly why. And then later on, come to find out, my neighbor, through a conversation that he was having with my husband, decides to confess to my husband that he was one of the people that called. Yep.
Just when I think the story, like my brain's about to explode, but wait, there's more.
there's more.
What?
Because I told the HOA guy, I said, to these 3 people that were there at the time, I said, look, in less than 24 hours, you guys come onto my property and you invert something of mine simply because you received a few phone calls. Well, guess what? I've been dealing with lights being shined in my bedroom by a neighbor that I've sent you guys pictures and videos of for months. And if you want to go and touch anyone's property, you need to go over there and change his lights as opposed to coming on and touching mine, who's not bothering anybody.
Mm.
I'm still grappling with this. That first and foremost, that this gentleman, this neighbor, felt comfortable to reveal that he was one of the ones that called. Another conversation for another show. However, a few calls gets them out on your property, your specific property, you and your family's property, to write the flag that was inverted intentionally and not disrespectfully at all. However, we can't seem to, from emails, from phone calls, from social media blasts, from groups getting involved and following up, can't seem to handle even schedule a meeting about the situation that took place. And what are we, like 2 months out now?
Yeah, that was June 21st. So now it's August 20th. Yep.
So, Dr. Walker, I asked you this question once when we in our conversations prior to, and thank you for that post. Consequences of Blackness is absolutely correct here. At least I feel that way. But that leads me to my next question. How are the other members of color in the community responding, involving, even specifically Black members in the community? I'm sure there's not a lot, but be that as it may, they're there. Have they been involved with this at all?
Well, Black or not, there have been members that have been standing by me, that have come over to show their support or written to the community, the HOA management as well. The only time after that I've been back to the pool since is with another Black couple, male, female Black couple. They are maybe about 10, 15 years older than me. So they're, kind of a couple that I look up to. And I went back with them because I felt comfortable being there with them. And also while we were there, other people, again, that saw me was like, oh, I heard about what happened at the pool. That's horrible. I'm sorry that happened. So it's known. And other people who have written into the HOA management group as well have received no response. We live here. We pay the HOA fees and managements and all, everything that needs to be paid in order for us to be and reside here in this community and not have any infractions upon us or liens put on us or anything like that. They work for us, and basically we as the members of the HOA should really be respected when we say that there's a problem, when we say that we want to have a meeting, when we say that we need that this still needs to be addressed, and they're not doing their job. They're failing to do their job.
Yeah. I'm glad that you asked that, Rick, because I was about to ask, other than other people there who are people of color, the other Black residents, I want to know where my white troublemakers are. Are they doing it?
They're here. Don't you worry. They're here.
So wait a minute. Good.
I mean, there are white troublemakers throughout the country, just kind of strategically planted all throughout.
Of them surrounding me, remember?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's cute and everything. They come and tell you, we heard what happened and we're sorry, as long as that's followed up with you doing something about it.
Right. Well, exactly. So there's a quote that I would love to share by Albert Einstein about exactly that. And he said, and I'm gonna read it because I'm gonna make certain I'm not gonna mess it up. He said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything."
Ooh.
Right. Wait a minute. Albert said that?
Albert Einstein was very much appalled at the state of our nation when he came to visit and saw the way that Black Americans were being treated. Yes.
I have no idea.
Albert Einstein.
That was a word.
Right, wasn't it? I want to take up a whole collection. Let's open up the doors of the church. Listen. So, because it was. And thank you for sharing that quote. I did not know that, and I'm grateful for that. I definitely want to follow up on that quote because more people need to hear it. It really solidifies that notion of silence. It equates to, it's just as dangerous. It's condoning racism because you're not speaking up and speaking out and making the changes. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Dr. Walker, where are we now? Catch us up to where are we currently?
So now, again,
did I see the NAACP is getting involved?
Yes. So I spoke with them. An email had been sent out to them last week, and they contacted me, and asked to speak to me. So we had a phone call the other day. And so now I've given them all the information. I have everything down on email. I have everything filed and organized neatly. I have, even with, when we did eventually do a police report, which wound up being taken down as like an incident report, I have statements from other residents that I sent in to the NAACP as well. So they have everything now and are reviewing.
Well, wow. You know, this is, Kendra, do you have anything?
Just, I guess I just keep going back to like this isn't just like, I guess it's not something you can just like shut out because this is your home. And like Rick said, these are people who are supposed to be helping you and making your neighborhood safe and as comfortable as possible. So it's not like you can go home and get away from it because it is home.
Right.
That's stressful. Lord.
Can you, you know, we're in an election year. Can you vote these people out? Like, is that a thing? I mean, let's put them on the ballot or off the ballot and put somebody else. Like, how does that work? Is that possible?
We're not in an election year here at our community, not this year.
Okay, all right. Well, keep me posted. I'll help lobby for whoever else is, because this is nonsense to me. I can't fathom the organization that I'm paying money into so that I can live comfortably, like Kendra said, is not adhering to even addressing a situation that is not just my problem, but is on a grander scale an issue. Yes. Especially when this individual has done this before, and nothing has happened, right?
Right. And I have people living here who's asked me, you know, well, who are these people? Because I want to know about them. I want to know who they are. I want to stay away from them too. You know, so it's not just a me thing. It's not just the me. The rest of the community wants to be, you know, aware of these perpetrators, who they are. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's.
So and Cynthia, if we can throw up that last picture, I wanted to make sure that we're sharing some contact information for people who are watching to also get involved, right? So we had some people that you listed, Dr. Walker, to reach out to, the email address, phone numbers, the site senior community manager. These are still the people that should be reached out to, correct?
Yes, mainly the one on top. She's the on-site community manager. T. Lil, yes, she's the person that is here and receiving all these emails and not responding.
Mm. And Esplanade is the name of the community, or is it the Icon team, or how does that break down? Thanks, Cynthia.
Yes, so the name of the community is Esplanade Golf and Country Club in Lakewood Ranch. And the Icon Management, that's capital ICON, and then small case management, is the name of the management group that is overseeing our HOA. Okay.
I want to make sure that we're able to communicate that. And I'll make sure to get that posted too as well on our social media pages. So the people it takes nothing to type a quick email.
I do have an extra email as well. I'm sorry, I just remembered.
No, please go ahead.
The email to the general manager, his name is Bobby Barnes. And his email is bbarnes, that's BARNES, at the icon, that's ICON, team.com.
And you said that was the general manager?
Correct.
I'm just going to throw that in there too in the chat there. We'll get that on in there. So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I talk a lot about when it comes to activism, where my activism lies. I am a fan of doing this, providing a platform, talking and sharing these stories. I just recently got started with engaging in sending out emails, thanks to the Miss Cynthia McDonald, with an initiative going on here in Illinois. She gave me a list of congressional people to shoot email to, give a phone call to. I was on it. And I think that is where, we can at least start to push a little bit, the movement a little bit there. It takes not really a lot of time. Like, it takes some time, maybe a few minutes out of your day, to comprise an email that just it highlights your anger and being upset with the discrimination that Dr. Walker and her family is facing in their community, in their home neighborhood. and still having to deal with at 2 months later, almost 2.5, very close, I'm sure, to 3, because par for the course, they're not going to respond. They haven't been responding. Let's hope that they do. But the more people that are aware, the more people that can get involved, I'll tell you, they'll get tired of listening to people at some point.
Right.
Politicians do. They eventually.
Yeah. So here's, and I know people have asked me, well, okay, well, what is it that you want? What
that was going to be my last
want
question. What is it that you do want?
Right? and basically, I want justice, which would be no tolerance, meaning that these gentlemen need to have their privileges to the pool suspended for, a finite period of time. I'm not saying it's definite, that they never get to come back to the pool again, but suspension is definitely warranted here, right?
Yeah.
And also, I would like another email to go out to the general community stating, we do not tolerate racism, bigotry, sexism. This incident occurred at the pool. It will not occur anywhere on the grounds of Esplanade Golf and Country Club of Lakewood Ranch. And these are the actions that we take when people perceive to go ahead and do these things. That's it. That's all I was asking for 2 months ago.
And it's not like that's a big deal. I mean, that's not a big deal to put that out there, because in today's climate, you shouldn't be tolerating racism. You shouldn't be tolerating bigotry, and you should not be tolerating sexism. In our current climate, we're fighting for equality across the board. You're responsible for this, the citizens of this neighborhood. These are your neighbors. It's so easy to put that out there. Why wouldn't you put that out there?
Right.
Whew. Child, my blood pressure went up. All right. Well, Dr. Walker, listen, we're about to wrap up here. Thank you for sharing again your story and all of the fight that you have going on. I'm committed to continuing on in the process, but I would love if, as things do come up, you've been great about keeping me updated. I would love to be able at some point to circle back and say, hey, everyone watching, just so y'all know, they finally got back. Hopefully that might happen sometime in the near future. Any last words or last thoughts that you'd like to share, Dr. Walker?
No, like I said, it's really simple. This case could have been closed and shut from the beginning. I'm not asking for much. I'm asking it just to be looked at as a human being attacked by 3 other humans for no apparent reason other than just existing. I mean, that's all it was. And, had this, just leave this little piece of thought in your head. Flip it. Let that be a white woman, 5'4", 120, 25 pounds, with 3 taller, bigger black men attacking her. How would that have ended?
2 months ago.
Right. I mean, basically that would have been an open and shut case, wouldn't it? Just right there. Done. In fact, they might be in jail now, if even still alive. Dr. Walker, I'm so sorry this happened, but I'm glad and grateful that we have been able to share your story, bring some awareness, and get people involved. I can't thank you enough and share my humility for you being on the platform to share the struggles that you have and the continued fight. Ms. Kendra B., anything to wrap up with before we finish up?
I know that earlier you were saying how we can write, emails and call. And this is something that when I'm asking people to reach out to legislators, when I tell them email, that it doesn't have to be a dissertation and it doesn't have to be anything incredible, because I jokingly say these people probably have short attention spans anyway. Just tell them, hey, I know what's going on. I'm ticked off and this is what needs to happen, and then end it there. And like you said, it takes 2 seconds out of your day. So
you can do it on your phone. Like, you can do it right on your phone. You don't even need a laptop to do it. You can do it right on your phone.
Exactly.
These devices, I'm telling you, that just.
Same.
Well, for those of you that have tuned in, thank you so much for watching. Please get involved. We'll make sure to have links to the contact information that Dr. Walker shared with us. Her story is not uncommon, but we're grateful to be able to share it so that people can still get a sense that racism, bigotry, sexism, that's still a fight. We're still fighting it. We have not reached the point of where we're past this yet. And hopefully in the next couple of months, leadership will change and we'll start heading that direction. But that's neither here nor there, another show. But we want to thank you for tuning in with us tonight. every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Well, until my schedule might change because of work. But until then, you can always catch In Black and White on YFNA News on YouTube. Make sure that you tune in on Mondays at 7 p.m. East Central Daylight Time to catch our sibling show, the 13%, with the host, Cynthia McDonald, as well as Arthur Ward. And big thanks to Cynthia McDonald for stepping in on the back end and keeping things running while my dear friend and brother, Ethan, is out. Thoughts and best wishes to him as well. Looking forward to him when he returns. But until then, Ms. Kendra B is here holding it down. Kendra, thank you so much, my dear Soror, for being on here with me. I really appreciate all of that, all of you. And for those of you that are watching, keep in mind that as long as there's racism to fight, there'll always be In Black and White.
Right.
We'll see you guys soon. Thank you, and good night.